Hey everyone, Matt Pisarcik from RazorEmporium.com coming at you today for another double-edged Discourse video. I am joined by Kaleb Aylsworth from Aylsworth Razors. Thank you, sir, for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Yes.
Pleasure.
Well, we have just wrapped up the 4th annual Arizona Shavers Meetup, and we figured before Kaleb hops back on a plane to Toronto, Canada, we're going to get him in the studio and shave and talk and discourse. Discord? Discuss all things about shaving, and yeah, I'm really happy to have you here, man. It's been a blast.
Yeah, it's been a great time. I'm really excited to be here, too. The meetup was amazing, met a lot of great people, and yeah, it's been a great time.
The vendors we had packed a punch, and then we had, I really conservatively want to say, at least 20% more people than we had last year. I think minimum 75, closer to probably 100 people turned out. So.
Yeah, it's what it looked like to me for sure.
Yeah.
It was a really good time.
Yeah. Well, what are we going to be shaving with today? What are we using?
Yeah, so 1988.
Oh, 1988. Okay,
yeah,
cool.
By Rex. Smells fantastic. I can't wait to use it.
Cool.
So that's what we're using for the software here. And then we're using my first ever slant, which is a Rex Sentry.
That's right.
And really excited to try this one too. And then I've got one of our own brushes,
nice.
Which is the Altair brush. It's aluminum, got a G5C synthetic knot in it.
The best synthetic knot there really is. It's as good as it gets, guys.
It's my favorite.
Cool. And over here, I had to grab one of Kaleb's razors. So we've got the Apex. And which gap or what kind of aggression level is this guy?
So this should be the standard,
okay.
Which has got about a 0.7 millimeter gap and near neutral exposure with a 0.07 exposure.
And it looks like that. I was, this is 3 days in a row of shaving, which I typically don't do because we shot with Peter from Arion and Evans on Friday. We shot with Jake from Yates Precision on Saturday, and here we are on Sunday shooting. Before Kaleb takes off, so I was like, I have to have a kind of a mild razor at least. I don't want to get torn up, but I think this would be a good one.
Yeah, it's got a very mild feel to it. It's still a heavy razor at about 105 grams, so you got to still use a lighter touch. Right. But yeah, it's a really good daily shaver.
Well, and I grabbed the same thing we used yesterday, which is the Meetup soap. So if you guys ever been to one of our meetups, we always do a soap making demo like live in front of the people. They get to watch it, even participate in making the soap, and then they walk away with one of these guys for free. It also is just a perfect little travel soap. So I'm going to use this. It's a bay rum with orange and clove, rustic wood, and rum. With that being said, I think it's time to lather up.
Yeah, let's get going.
Cool.
While I'm lathering here, do you have any tips for me with the Sentry, my first ever slant?
The same tip I would tell anyone with any new razor, kind of ride the cap and just kind of bring it down slowly and feel the engagement of the blade and just take an easy touch, and I'm sure you'll be fine. You're a veteran of the wet shaving world. Speaking of which, I have to know Kaleb's story. I know we've done a spotlight on Kaleb in the past, but he wasn't sitting here next to me. So, Kaleb, tell us all about how you got involved with wet shaving.
All right. Well, so like most people, I think, I was around, 2021, and I've been using cartridges for most of my life. I started getting some skin irritation, like some weird patches after shaving. They stick around for a couple of days. I was even getting worried and thinking I might have like some kind of a skin issue or like melanoma or something like that. Went into the doctor. The doctor was just like, no, you just got irritation from your shaving. And
you go hypochondriac?
No,
okay,
but I was getting really weird skin patches and stuff. And so I was in in Canada, which is where I'm from, our drugstore called Shoppers Drug Mart. And they had a Wilkinson sword twist to open on the shelf. And so I saw that and I was like, wow, it looked really cool. It has that kind of vintage look to it. Right. And so I picked that up. I brought it home, realized I had no idea how to use it. Right. And so I started doing some research on the YouTube University and, found out, okay, you need to have a shave soap with it and a brush and everything. Right. So I went and picked some of those up. I think I got the Omega Bore, which I think a lot of people start with one of those, and some Proraso White.
Classics.
And I really started just really enjoying it immediately. It felt the difference. Wilkinson sword twist open it's like a $15 or $20 razor.
I think it's made by who is it? Someone in China. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a fantastic razor or anything, but for someone who's never used one before, a DE before, it was definitely a different experience. And so I used that exclusively for about 3 months. And then, the algorithms take over and they start showing you stuff. And I started seeing all of these really cool, beautiful looking shave of the days
Right.
and beautiful looking razors on my Instagram. And so I started digging into it, and then I picked up my first, what I would call like a high quality CNC razor, which was a carved Christopher Bradley.
Oh, we love Chris.
Yeah.
He's been in the seat with us. Yep.
He's a good friend too.
Yep, he's a good guy.
Yeah, and I was just, after that I was just hooked. And then I
What
went
year
down the
was
rabbit
this?
hole.
What year was all this?
2021. So it hasn't been that
4 or
long.
5 years ago.
Yeah, something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
And then, the rest is history. Went down the rabbit hole. Now I'm about 150 soaps in. Got like some 35 or 40 modern razors, a few vintage. And yeah, it's been fantastic.
Wow. And so you're a wet shaver, your skin problems are starting to go away, you're loving the rabbit hole, you're liking the variety of all the different products out there. How does one go from enthusiast to maker? Because that's the story. So these products, I mean, it's his last name, it's his line of products. How do you do that?
Okay, yeah. So this is an interesting one. For those who don't know, my actual background is in video game development. So
Right.
I'm a 3D artist. I work in video games, and I make 3D environment art for video games. And
Anything we would know?
I've worked on some fairly big titles. I've worked on Halo, Tomb Raider.
Wow.
I worked on the Battlefield franchise.
Lara Croft?
Yeah, I worked on that one. And so while I was looking into all of these razors and CNC manufacturing,
Right.
I found out that the software that people use to design razors is actually owned by the company of the same software I use to make video games.
Okay.
And-
it's kind of, a little close.
It's different. It's very different, but it's the same company. It's like a sister software. And so I figured, okay, maybe I can learn how to do this. And so over the space of about 3 months, I taught myself everything I could learn about CNC manufacturing. And I taught myself how to use Fusion 360.
Wow.
And my first razor that I ever made was actually the design that I learned on. So while I was learning it, I was designing it. And the rest is history from there.
Well, that's pretty cool. I mean, most enthusiasts don't kind of cross that bridge and get that deep into it, but it sounds like you're kind of a naturally curious person, and you kind of are a tinkerer, and you kind of want to take it to the next level.
Yeah, exactly. Well, my first design, I never intended to make a razor, actually make one that people could use.
Right.
I just, for fun, I wanted to see if I could visually design my own razor. And so I didn't use Fusion 360 originally. I used this just visual design software, but I started posting it on Instagram, and immediately I started getting a lot of people saying, "When's this coming out? It looks awesome and everything."
You're like, this is just a concept art, basically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, speaking of which, before I'm almost halfway done, I wanted to just comment that I'm really enjoying the shave, and after shaving daily the last couple days, which I normally don't do, I usually skip a day. This is definitely not too aggressive, and I could see it as a daily shaver. So it's got great heft, great feel, very easy to find the blade angle. It's a good razor.
Nice. Thank you. I'm about to go for my first stroke here with the Century,
Oh,
so
here
we'll see how it goes.
Hopefully it's not too crazy for you.
Nice. No, that was a really good first stroke right there.
All right.
I think I found the angle immediately.
Yeah.
So we'll go with that. Yeah.
Okay, so people are excited about a potential design. You've learned the software. How do you actually go from that to actually cutting metal and designing packaging and actually selling something to the public? How does that happen?
Yeah, that's a great question. So the hardest part was really just kind of transferring from, designing something in a 3D space for video games that is not something that you have to use in the real world.
Right.
It's not something that you're going to be manufacturing, that you're going to need to think about design constraints of like tools and how to cut metal and all of that.
Right.
So one of the challenges was just teaching myself all of those constraints.
Right.
And,
The practical, not the theoretical
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I did a few things. I got some books and watched some videos about CNC and what those constraints are. And I also took my collection of modern razors, and I got a digital caliper, and I measured all of the critical dimensions.
Yep.
Like the blade posts and the various different
Yeah,
parts.
look at what's on the market before you try to reinvent the wheel, right?
Yeah, and then I put those into a spreadsheet and lined up the columns, and I looked at the ones where all of the ones were not changed, where they were very close together.
Mm-hmm.
And then I realized this is something that's kind of set that way for a reason.
Right.
And then I looked at the one where there was a lot of variance, and I said, okay, this is where I have some room to play. And that's how I got my first pass done.
Right.
And then I just took that and I sent it out to a manufacturer on demand sort of service.
Right.
And they sent us back the prototype. I tried it, did a few tweaks here and there, and then sent it out again. And then, yeah, that was it. The rest was history.
So this is the first razor, and this was called the
Jacquant.
Jacquant. Okay.
Uh-huh.
So that's kind of the origin story. What makes Aylsworth different than other razor makers on the market?
Yeah, you know, that's a
Loaded question.
well, no, that's a fascinating one. And you know, for a long time when we first started out, because we sort of fell into it,
Right.
I was asking myself that same question, and
Yeah.
I realized, you know, one of the things is a lot of razors, and I think, you know, off camera, you and I were talking about this a bit earlier.
Right.
Is there's this concept in design called form follows function, and so the function is paramount. And of course, you need a razor that's going to shave really well. And so part of what we did was we applied the agile design methodology that we use in video games in order to find the fun. We call it find the fun.
What does that mean?
Well, a game needs to be fun above all else,
Okay,
right?
yes.
And in theory, you might think you know what's going to be fun, but until you play it, you don't actually know if it's going to be fun. And that's true of a razor as well. You think it's going to shave well, you think you know what makes a good razor, but until you try it, you don't actually know. So we used a really iterative approach. We put our designs out to testers really early. We isolate the pain points and what people normally complain about with razors, and then we test our assumptions, and then we dial it in until we give the people the razor that they want, not the razor that we want them to want.
Right.
So that's the first part. But the second part is we really just wanted to be, we want people to have three things when they have one of our razors. The first thing is joy of ownership.
Right.
We want people when they look at it to go like, wow, I'm so glad that I bought that. I'm just so happy with this purchase. It's kind of like the opposite of buyer's remorse, right? It's like buyer euphoria.
Right.
We want them to feel that every time. And the other thing is we want people to feel trust from us. So even if it's not their favorite razor, maybe if it's not for them, it doesn't fit their parameters, we want them to feel like we're taking care of them from end to end. And then the last one is just quality. Like we want to just make sure that everything we put out there is something that we're really proud to have our name on.
Okay.
But to answer the question, what makes us different? I think it's that first part. It's that agile sort of almost like video game design mindset towards developing a razor.
It makes sense. That's your background, and it sounds like that's a unique approach. I've always also, considered customer experience when trying to design a product, and from a user standpoint as well. That makes perfect sense. So that's what Aylsworth is. That's who Kaleb is. What's next? What's next for Aylsworth? Where's it going?
Yeah, that's a fantastic question too. And before I answer that, I just want to say I'm really enjoying the soap.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I'm getting some notes in there. Let me guess. There's some oud in there.
There is.
Tobacco maybe.
Wow.
And a bit of cedar.
You are good. You got a great nose.
Okay.
Yeah, better than me. I'm always bad with that stuff. I have to look it up because I just forget all those. I'm always like, is it clean? Is it musky? Is it woodsy? But yeah.
Well,
some of these guys.
The woodsy.
Good. Yeah, 1988's fun. We were trying to just be fun with it and look at all the classic stuff from the 80s. I finished up already with Peter was here and he left this on set. We used it and I grabbed for it again. This is his Danielle Malou. I always mispronounce it. Did you say this one? I mispronounced that name.
No, Malu. It looks like Malu.
That makes more sense. Malu, yeah. By Ariana Evans. Peter left it with us. I was really appreciative, and I like it a lot. It's a signature product that he makes for that Italian barber.
So the question again was, what's next?
What's next for Aylsworth?
Yeah, so we always want to be coming out with new things,
Yep.
of course. We have a few things in the work. I don't have too many to announce yet. We have a new soap coming out next month. It's going to be called Aylsworth Red. It's a nice kind of spicy, woody fragrance, a good winter fragrance.
I saw your noir yesterday at the show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that one's a favorite. That one's actually kind of a bit of a love note to my wife. It's based off of Mont Blanc Legend, which was the first gift she ever got from me. And
Wow.
so we wanted to put that one in there. But I would say the red is more in the wheelhouse of something like a Creed Spice and Wood.
Okay.
So it's a really nice one. I'm a fan of that. We do have some other razor things in the work too, but nothing to announce yet.
Yeah, you got to keep things close to the vest. I totally get it. I thought I heard you say there's something in the way of consumables. Something kind of
yes,
this, yeah.
yeah. We
Is that
thank
public
you.
knowledge?
Not yet, but
Okay.
we can announce it here.
Wow, exclusive, everybody.
Yeah, so we're gonna have our own line of razor blades coming out
Nice.
soon too. So those will be available on our website.
Great.
They're just gonna be called Aylsworth Razors blades.
You know, it always makes a difference when you can open up the manufacturer's box and you see the matching branded blades. You know, everyone has blades. There's lots of blades in the market. And I always tell wet shavers out there, wet shavers sometimes get a little bit too much of the horse blinders, and they think that every wet shaver is just like them, and they all know all the different websites and all the different places to buy variety. A lot of people who buy wet shaving products have no idea. They saw it in a magazine or a TikTok, and they just wanted to go like this. Oh, good, where do I get more of these? And it's going to be whatever they just see in there. And so if you give them that confidence that, hey, it says Aylsworth, and then, hey, this is the Aylsworth, they go together. I want more Aylsworth, blades. And also a good pairing. Like early on with Rex, we had people putting feather blades in, and some people can love it, but a lot of people didn't like it. I'm like, well, that's maybe not the best pairing. So we chose our own blade that's a really good match. So I'm sure you did the same thing to make sure your blades go with your razors. So
Yeah.
it's a good match.
Yeah, we styled them. Not styled them after, but we wanted to make sure that they were similar to some of our favorite blades that we already put in the box. Now it's just, it's got our brand on it, and it's something we're really happy with. Speaking of which, that was my first time using the Rex blades too, and those were fantastic as well. I'm feeling nice and smooth after just 2 passes.
Good.
First time out with the Sentry was fantastic too.
Nice.
My first slant, and it went off swimmingly.
Yeah, it just looks good. Looks like no issues. So some people are really intimidated by slants, and our idea was kind of to be like a sneaky slant where it's like, wow, it took all the stuff off, but I really didn't feel the blade. I love the Merc Her, but the Merc Her or the Parker, sometimes they can just be a little bit too aggressive with a slant, and it gives it kind of a scary image.
Yeah. I actually, if I'm being completely honest, the reason I've never used one before was I was a little intimidated.
And they look
even
like
as an
a
experienced
guillotine,
shaver. Yeah, but you're telling me like your guys' goal with this was to make a razor that was a slant, but that was easy to use and pick up for the first time and efficient. Yeah, it got me there, and it was not scary at all.
Good.
So
Good.
yeah. Fantastic job.
Nice. And I noticed, I was almost done and you were just still building a lather. I've never been a bowl latherer, and our audience knows I'm not a bowl latherer. So, it sounds like shaving 101, but tell our audience why bowl lathering, like why you do that, what do you think the benefit there is?
So I have done both. I have face lathered a lot.
Right.
Honestly, I don't know if it's a benefit. It's just something that feels
You
comfortable.
like the
for me.
ritual? You
Yeah.
you brought your own bowl in.
Yeah, I just enjoy it. It's something that I'm used to. I can get a really nice, consistent lather every time. It does take maybe a little bit more work, a couple of water additions to build it up in there. But I just find I get my best lathers, like really nice, creamy, consistent.
It looks good.
Something that I'm comfortable using. Like some nice.
That's a good lather. I always like to do a little peak test, see how hydrated it is. It's cool at consistency, which I think is the perfect.
I think that's the main reason is consistency because I know what I'm going to get with it.
Yeah. That's good. And especially, and I always tell our audience and our guests, this is the least ideal situation to do wet shaving. You didn't take a shower. It's cold. It's cold water.
It's not that bad.
No.
Just kidding.
No, I'm just saying, like the best situation is you walk out of a steamy shower and you're all prepped, everything's ready to go, and the comfort of your bathroom. We're in a room with lights on us, cold water, just walk right in. So having that consistent quality that you know how to get, that's important.
Yeah, yes. And actually that was another note too. I was saying it before off camera.
What is this gizmo?
Oh, this is what's called a mister. You might have seen me use it to spray my face.
That's cool.
But you can also use it for water additions. And
very controlled.
I fill it up with distilled water.
Ooh.
So no matter where you're going, whether the water's soft, whether it's hard, again, it's
another
that
consistency
variable. Exactly.
Is there anything that you want our audience to hear from Kaleb right here? Anything else about your brand, about your razors?
Well, we're just really hobbyist and really happy to be in this space. It was kind of like a dream that I fell into, just making a razor and then having it pick up. If you're not familiar with us, come on by, check out the website, aylsworthrazors.com. We have a chat bubble. We have an email that you can sign up for. We're very responsive if you have questions. And just come check it out and see what you think.
Well, Kaleb, this has been a pleasure. He is just as charming and nice and genuine off camera as he is on. We've spent a lot of time together the last couple days and nights. We went out for cigars. We went out urban exploring. We ate some good restaurants, some good food. He's an awesome guy. He's a friend. And even though he's a competitor of Rex and or Razor Emporium, I don't view the market that way. I don't think you do either. I think, and the whole idea of getting together for a meetup is all about the community. We kind of both shared in our vision that we want to grow the pool of wet shavers. We want the movement to get bigger. It takes a lot of different things to do that. I don't think any one brand should be controlling. I like the free market of ideas, and everyone, high tide raises all ships.
Exactly. And you heard it, well, you didn't hear it here first, but you heard it from me. If you're afraid of a slant and you've been holding out on trying one, check one of these out, because I'm going to pick this up off you after the show.
It's very nice of you. Well, Kaleb, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for coming out from Toronto to the Arizona Shavers Meetup. Thanks for being here for the double-edged discourse. I hope we see you again soon, either here or at another meetup soon, but this has been a pleasure. Man.
Absolutely, yeah.
Thank you so much. All right, well, everyone, please like this video if you liked it. Subscribe, leave a comment if you have a question for Kaleb or about Aylsworth razors, and we'll see you next time at Razor Emporium for all things vintage shaving. Thanks, guys.